Okay, I'm gonna deconstruct how I did this panel from a sequence in my comic Bribob, chapter 113, Looming Dread. And in this scene, Stan takes an orange and rips it open very forcefully. And this one was my favorite to do because it's like super expressive, very violent. It's like, rah! So, I'm gonna go over how I do motion lines. Like, I'm gonna draw start to finish on a new panel how I did this one. I'm gonna start with like outlining the two halves of the orange. So, this is the inside of the left side of the orange here. This is the right side. And then, now I'm gonna do the hands. So, let's see. So yeah, thumbs up here. And then, what are the names of the joints? Not joints. I'm gonna actually redo this. Right. No, that's okay. That's fine. So I'm looking at how much of the orange rind put on the outside, so I'm just changing the dimensions of that. Okay. That's basically all I'll do for the sketch stage. Is looks like yeah, it'll work. It'll work. Okay, so I'm gonna start inking this one, and I want to show my logic behind the motion behind this panel. Is that everywhere where, let's see, the action lines are going two different directions. So everything on this side is going to the right, everything on this side is going to the left. So for this side, it's a straight line here, and then there's no connecting lines this way. It's all motion lines. And if you put these on both sides, it just doesn't read correctly. So this panel also makes more sense. Like if you were to just look at this one by itself without the other panels in the comic, it might be hard to read what it is. But with the build-up, I don't know, the slow build-up of motion, it's really easy, I think, to read this type of panel. So I'm gonna do this. And then this is the orange stem and leaf. And then, let's see. And here's the orange. Backside of the orange. Looks like I kept a line there, but I could honestly do that. Okay. So another thing about these motion lines here, I don't have them, like they stretch out really far, but they aren't touching each other. Because then I think that would just kind of read weird too. Like, I don't know, in the context of this, let's see, the sides of the thumbs, I never reach the middle, so it would look weird if they touched here. So even though the motion lines are super long, they aren't touching each other. Okay. Okay. Alright, this part gets covered up down here by acrylic paint pens, but initially I had first gone down into this, so it's going to show up prominently right now, but it'll be covered up later. So. Yeah, looks like I made these fingers a little bit more like this instead of like, that's how. They're a little bit more raised here than they are here, but for the demo it'll be fine. Okay, now I give it a second to dry, because if I, with these micron pens, I should show this first, that it's a 05 micron. Oh well. If I immediately go and erase it, it'll all smear. So I'm just gonna give it a second to dry. Okay. Okay, then I always check, because I usually forget to ink a line or two, or once I've erased the pencil I notice that some of it looks a little funny, and then I just go back in. Yeah, I definitely forgot this right here, this section, and this one. So yeah, I always go through and do that. Okay, so I have a very specific method for how I color in panels, and it's usually I go from lightest to darkest values, and then I go back in with like acrylic paint pens and add highlights. So this way I can clear up mistakes easier, because if I go in with a darker Copic first and then I'm like, oh shoot, I colored in where I'd want some of the lighter areas like Stan's skin or whatever, but I've already added in the dark background, it's really hard to fix it. So starting off with the lighter values first, I'm just taking, okay, this is just E00 or 00. Okay. Now, the shading here, I don't mind letting it dry a little bit before trying to blend it. Some of the other stuff will show, like, I want to immediately after I put down one color, put down another, so then it can blend easier. But for this one, let's see. I'm taking E34. And then I'm also doing some motion lines with the shading as well. Okay. Okay. This is E44. Ooh. Now sometimes it really does matter if I'm using the blockier version. I forget the name of the difference. This is a sketch one. I know that these are called sketch pens or sketch, but for this stage it doesn't matter if I use the sketch version or the original blockier version. And then I'm just going to take the lighter one, E34, and just go back in a little bit. Okay. Okay. Alright, alright. Okay. Now I finished off one section. So this helps keep me organized. So it's like first I want to just do the hands and do everything mostly for that before I go into the next step, which is going to be the orange. Okay. I made a small mistake here, but I accidentally did YR65. Let's see it. Instead of E30, but in the grand scheme of things, I can show you how to make fix small errors. So it's all good. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going back in with R14. Looks like I used a darker color here. Let's see. I think that's the right one. So now I'm taking the action lines and I'm making the shading in the middle very sketchy, but also leaving. It's important there's still high contrast, so you see parts of the finger still show up here, and it's not all covered by orange in the middle. Okay. So these darker parts are acrylic paint, and it would be hard to see that on camera, but because I'm right next to it, I can still see that that part's acrylic. So next part is going to be doing the background. Okay. I'm using E89 for the orange stem. And then I don't think I used G20 for the original, but G20 works. GO2, I mean. GO2. And then E44 for the background. Okay. Again, I'm trying to really keep in mind the action lines. So here, it's fine, but then maybe gonna change sides to this. And it looks like I filled these in here. Okay, so this background is Stan's shirt, so it's like right next to his shirt. So there's a direct little shadow. There's a little shadow right here. So I'm taking E89. Or no, I'm taking V99 first. It's a little bit purplish. Right here. And this is one of those sections where I go a little bit faster. So, well, if I get it right. Immediately into E89. And then so there's more what's the word? What's the word? Like if you want to do Copics the correct way, you do like a little circular pattern and you do it very tediously. And I just like going a little bit faster. So looks like that's all I did for the background. And now before I use any acrylic paint pens specifically, I wait a second for all of the Copic to dry because the paint pens will actually break down a little bit if it's like still really wet with alcohol markers. The paint won't actually be as opaque. So I give it a second to cool off. Okay, so I tested out a new acrylic pen for this panel because usually I use Poscas. But yeah, these are called acrylic marker brush. Oh, acrylic, and it looks like they're kind of trying to copy Posca's font style and all that. But I don't know. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but the biggest thing I noticed is this red one I used. So the juice like going both directions, very hectic. It looks like I didn't use any red up here, which is kind of weird. I can do that a little bit. And then I use 2 different oranges. So, oh, it's right here. Oh, okay, so this one, what the heck, which one did I use? Oh my gosh. This one's 604. Yeah, 604. And if you only do one layer, it doesn't fully cover up the black micron pen, but I'm okay with that. Looks like I just took it over there, over here. I'm gonna take a lighter oh my gosh, 649. Go back in with a little bit of YR68 right here. That's definitely not the right color. 605. That's a different red. Okay, so I noticed there's a lot more black lines, so I'm gonna wait for this to dry and then add some more micron lines. Okay. Okay. One more. Okay. This one I did, the fingers are kind of different, but I'd say it's pretty similar to the original. So I'd initially tape this one down so it didn't move during filming. Let's see. But yeah, I hope I showed the process from start to finish without any questions on like how I did it or why I did it, and that it made sense. So let me know if you want me to deconstruct any other specific panels from Bribob, and I can do that. The super big paintings I do, that would take a lot longer, but I can definitely try. And part of the process with these panels is very like in the moment, or like I do my best, but then I notice halfway through I kind of want something else versus what I had planned, and I can go over that in other videos, but this one was pretty straightforward. I can also deconstruct how and why I do certain sequence of events in comics, or like how I frame things, or like I don't know, other stuff. So let me know if you like the style of this video. I'm gonna try out editing. So this is gonna be trial and error until I figure out the best way to go moving forward with this sort of stuff. So thanks for watching.